Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, leave a like down below. So shout outs to Mr. Dubs because he pointed this out and I had to listen to this interview with the lead showcase designer, Dino Zacconi. And this comes from Shaq News Interviews. Mr. Dubs said there's some really good information in there. Make sure you go watch it and cover it on your channel. Make sure you check out Mr. Dubs. He's always on top of everything and he has great insight on all things pro wrestling. Anyway, so I had to listen to it a couple times because like most of the stuff they talk about we already know, but there's one line in here that blew my mind. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is going to make showcase mode like an actual really fun mode for me. Because the last couple years with the slingshot mechanic and everything, I just, like it was a slog. So they've gotten rid of the slingshot mechanic. It's all going to be in-game cutscenes, which I like because it doesn't take you out of the immersion of the game. And then there's this other thing that he said. And he says there's 3 different match types in the mode. He says there's change history. I had to write it down because he says it so fast. So he says there's change history, there's create history, and then there's relive history. That's freaking awesome. It's basically what if, like Marvel has been doing with their what if shows. That's awesome. This makes me excited for the mode, and it makes me definitely want to play through it. However, how much time are we going to have to spend in this mode if this is a thing, right? So, change history. That's an easy one. So they'll have established matches, right? Let's say when Cody first wrestled Roman, right? Let's say Cody beat him the first time instead of the second time, right? Let's say Roman beat him both times and Cody still hadn't finished the story. Stuff like that. That's really cool. So being able to change history, that's fun. And that means they have a cutscene for that also. Because why else would they have it? That's really cool. That's what I love about the video game aspect of wrestling. Now, wrestling, everybody wants it to be a sports game, a simulation game. You got to gamify it a little bit. And that's where the game can come in and you can do really fun, creative things with it. So I think that's really cool. Now, the next thing is create history. Like, I'm curious, does this mean that you can pick matches and create history that way? Or does this mean that with the what if matches, like what if, like the one they showed us, the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika, what if they wrestled the Dudley Boys, right? Maybe that's creating the create history one. Maybe that's the type of match that they're talking about. It's probably not as ambitious as my thinking. It's where you just pick, you know, whoever you want to face and that does some cool cutscene thing. No, I'm sure they have matches like this would have been awesome if this happened, like, but it's all Bloodline related, right? So keep that in mind. So yeah, the Dudley Boys versus the Wild Samoans, awesome. We got to see that firsthand in the early previews of the game from the Royal Rumble. And then there's the last one, which is relive history. So my guess is obviously you just replay the matches, you do those things verbatim like the checklist, and that's the old mode. So the fact that they're actually like basically creating new features and new functions within the mode, that's really cool. That's how you evolve the game. From everything I'm hearing, despite the monetization aspect, despite the game feeling, looking the same, we won't know until we get it in our hands, but despite all the negativity around the game, they are listening to the fans to some extent. So you gotta give them kudos a little bit. Like, they are listening. I mean, they could just have a blind eye and screw the fans. We're gonna do what we want. Blah blah blah. No, if you listen to all these designers, these lead people in the company, it sounds like they really care about the game. But they have to answer and they have to make money. They have to answer the 2K and they have to answer WWE and their shareholders and everything. So they still have to put in the crap that we hate, like my faction and all the little microtransactions. Even though the game comes out a new one every single year, you don't need the microtransactions. I get, especially if there's a new one then the following year. If you're gonna have microtransactions, your stuff needs to carry over. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So once again, change history, create history, and relive history. This sounds really cool to me. I can't wait to try out this mode now because the one thing I mentioned like a year or two ago for the last 3 games is it'd be really cool if they had a what if mode. Like, what if this happened, or what if that happened? That's cool to me, because if you want to go watch the real match, and I'm complaining about this in 2K24, if you want to relive the match, just go watch it. It's on the app. You just go probably look it up. It's right there. Boom. You can find probably the entire match on YouTube. People upload full matches on there. We don't need like the slingshot mechanic and the real footage. Literally, what if scenarios, like what if Mankind threw the Undertaker through the Hell in the Cell, and the Undertaker's the one who almost died. Crazy stuff like that. Anything is possible. So it got me thinking, what matches are in this mode? Because we have The Rock, we have Nia Jax, who has matches in the mode. We got the Usos. I wonder if Rikishi, is Rikishi in this mode? Is that a hidden, because he is part of the Bloodline technically. We might have some Rikishi stuff in here, which would mean we might have Scotty 2 Hotty, and oh, that'd be really cool when we get Rikishi to do his dance. That'd be freaking hilarious. We should have Naomi match in here, at least one, because he said in this interview that there is a match for every single member of the Bloodline, at least one. So that would mean Jacob fought 2, even though he just hasn't really had many singles matches. That would mean Solo Sikoa. That would mean everybody in the whole Bloodline. What's funny is Nia Jax is in the showcase, right? So she is part of the Bloodline, obviously. She's related to them. I don't know why they haven't brought her into the Bloodline. It doesn't make any sense in the real show. It must be a Samoan thing. Like I don't know. It's weird. It's like, bring her into the fold. Bring Naomi into the fold. You need some women. There's no women in the faction. You got to have at least one woman, right? I don't know. I think it would have been cool if they had brought Nia Jax or Naomi back when Roman was still, the big dog champion, and they all had belts. Like Jay and Jimmy had the Intercontinental and the US. They should have done that before they broke this all up, As much as I wanted Cody to win the belt, finally, I feel like they should have dragged it out at least one more year. That way, they could have had time to get over all these new Bloodline members. And it would have been really, really cool. And then he could have faced The Rock. And then Cody could have won this year. And this would be the big build-up, final boss, boom, everything. But fans, Cody crybabies, all of us, I was one of them. We wanted Cody to win. But, yeah. So how do you feel about the change history, create history, and relive history match types in showcase mode? That is pretty cool. And how do you feel about them removing the slingshot mechanic? I can't talk anymore. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off comments below, and stay frosty.